If you yourself could become immortal, would you?
Damn straight. No, I think about it for a while because, of course, it depends on how you become immortal. There's a famous myth of Tithonus. It turns out that years ago, in the Greeks' mythology, there was the saga of Tithonus and Aurora.
Yeah.
Aurora was the goddess of the dawn, and she fell in love with a mortal, a human called Tithonus. And so Aurora begged Zeus to grant her the gift of immortality to give to her lover. So Zeus took pity on Aurora and made Tithonus immortal. But you see, Aurora made a mistake, a huge mistake. She asked for immortality, but she forgot to ask for eternal youth. So poor Tithonus got older and older and older every year, decrepit, a bag of bones, but he could never die. Never die.
Quality of life is important.
So I think immortality is a great idea as long as you also have immortal youth as well. Now, I personally believe, and I cannot prove this, but I personally believe that our grandkids may have the option of reaching the age of 30 and then stopping. They may like being age 30 because you have wisdom, you have all the benefits of age and maturity, and you still live forever with a healthy body. Our descendants may like being 30 for several centuries.
Is there an aspect of human existence that is meaningful only because we're mortal?
Well, every waking moment, we don't think about it this way, but every waking moment, actually, we are aware of our death and our mortality.
Yes.
Think about it for a moment. When you go to college, you realize that you are in a period of time where soon you will reach middle age and have a career. And after that, you'll retire and then you'll die. And so even as a youth, even as a child, without even thinking about it, you are aware of your own death because it sets limits to your lifespan. I got to graduate from high school. I got to graduate from college. Why? Because you're going to die. Because unless you graduate from high school, unless you graduate from college, you're not going to enter old age with enough money to retire and then die. And so, yeah, people think about it unconsciously because it affects every aspect of your being. The fact that you go to high school, college, get married, have kids, there's a clock ticking even without your permission.
It gives a sense of urgency. Do you yourself, I mean, there's so much excitement and passion in the way you talk about physics and the way you talk about technology in the future. Do you yourself meditate on your own mortality? Do you think about this clock that's ticking?
Well, I try not to because it then begins to affect your behavior. You begin to alter your behavior to match your expectation of when you're going to die. So let's talk about youth and then let's talk about death, okay? When I interview scientists on radio, I often ask them, what made the difference? How old were you? What changed your life? And they always say more or less the same thing. These are Nobel Prize winners, directors of major laboratories, very distinguished scientists. They always say, when I was 10, something happened. It was a visit to the planetarium. It was a telescope. For Steven Weinberg, winner of the Nobel Prize, it was a chemistry kit. For Heinz Pagels, it was a visit to the planetarium. For Isidore Rabi, it was a book about the planets. For Albert Einstein, it was a compass. Something happened which gives them this existential shock. Because you see, before the age of 10, everything is mommy and daddy, mommy and dad. That's your universe, mommy and daddy. Around the age of 10, you begin to wonder, what's beyond mommy and daddy? And that's when you have this epiphany, when you realize, oh my God, there's a universe out there, a universe of discovery. And that sensation stays with you for the rest of your life. You still remember that shock that you felt gazing at the universe. And then you hit the greatest destroyer of scientists known to science. The greatest destroyer of scientists known to science is junior high school. When you hit junior high school, folks, it's all over.
Yeah.
It's all over. Because in junior high school, people say, hey, stupid. I mean, you like that nerdy stuff and your friends shun you. All of a sudden, people think you're a weirdo. And science is made boring. You know, Richard Feynman, the Nobel Prize winner, when he was a child, his father would take him into the forest. And the father would teach him everything about birds, why they're shaped the way they are, their wings, the coloration, the shape of their beak, everything about birds. So one day a bully comes up to the future Nobel Prize winner and says, hey, Dick, what's the name of that bird over there? Well, he didn't know. He knew everything about that bird except its name. So he said, I don't know. And then the bully said, what's the matter, Dick? You stupid or something? And then in that instant, he got it. He got it. He realized that for most people, science is giving names to birds.
Yeah.
That's what science is. You know, lots of names of obscure things. Hey, people say, you're smart. You're smart. You know all the names of the dinosaurs. You know all the names of the plants. No, that's not science at all. Science is about principles, concepts, physical pictures. That's what science is all about. My favorite quote from Einstein is that unless you can explain a theory to a child, the theory is probably worthless. Meaning that all great theories are not big words. All great theories are simple concepts, principles, basic physical pictures. Relativity is all about clocks, meter sticks, rocket ships, and locomotives. Newton's laws of gravity are all about balls and spinning wheels and things like that. That's what physics and science is all about, not memorizing things. And that stays with you for the rest of your life. So even in old age, I've noticed that these scientists, when they sit back, they still remember. They still remember that flush of excitement they felt with that first telescope, that first moment when they encountered the universe. And that keeps them going. That keeps them going. By the way, I should point out that when I was 8, something happened to me as well.
Yes.
When I was 8 years old, it was in all the papers that a great scientist had just died, and they put a picture of his desk on the front page. That's it, just a simple picture of the front page of the newspapers of his desk. That desk had a book on it, which was opened, and the caption said, more or less, this is the unfinished manuscript from the greatest scientists of our time. So I said to myself, well, why couldn't he finish it? What's so hard that you can't finish it if you're a great scientist? It's a homework problem, right? You go home, you solve it, or you ask your mom, why couldn't he solve it? So to me, this was a murder mystery. This was greater than any adventure story. I had to know why the greatest scientists of our time couldn't finish something. And then over the years, I found out the guy had a name, Albert Einstein, and that book was the theory of everything. It was unfinished. Well, today I can read that book. I can see all the dead ends and false starts that he made. And I began to realize that he lost his way because he didn't have a physical picture to guide him on the third try. On the first try, he talked about clocks and lightning bolts and meter sticks, and that gave us special relativity, which gave us the atomic bomb. The second great picture was gravity, with balls rolling on curved surfaces. And that gave us the Big Bang, creation of the universe, black holes. On the third try, he missed it. He had no picture at all to guide him. In fact, there's a quote I have where he said, I'm still looking. I'm still looking for that picture. He never found it. Well, today we think that picture is string theory.
So string theory can unify gravity and this mysterious thing that Einstein didn't like, which is quantum mechanics, or couldn't couldn't quite pin down and make sense of.
That's right. Mother Nature has two hands, a left hand and a right hand. The left hand is a theory of the small. The right hand is a theory of the big. The theory of the small is the quantum theory, the theory of atoms and quarks. The theory of the big is relativity, the theory of black holes, big bangs. The problem is the left hand does not talk to the right hand. They hate each other. The left hand is based on discrete particles. The right hand is based on smooth surfaces. How do you put these two things together into a single theory? They hate each other. The greatest minds of our time, worked on this problem and failed. Today, the only theory that has survived every challenge so far is string theory. That doesn't mean string theory is correct. It could very well be wrong. But right now, it's the only game in town. Some people come up to me and say, Professor, I don't believe in string theory. Give me an alternative. And I tell them, there is none. Get used to it.
It's the best theory we got.
It's the only theory we have.
It's the only theory we have. Do you see, the strings kind of inspire a view, as did atoms and particles and quarks, but especially strings inspire a view of a universe as a kind of information processing system, as a computer of sorts. Do you see the universe in this way?
No. Some people think, in fact, the whole universe is a computer of some sort.
Yes.
And they believe that perhaps everything, therefore, is a simulation.
Yes.
I don't think so. I don't think that there is a super video game where we are nothing but puppets dancing on the screen and somebody hit the play button and here we are talking about simulations.
Yeah.
No. Even Newtonian mechanics says that the simple weather,